Tip number 20, don't forget about your weaknesses. So as a beginner, you might not know what your weaknesses are yet, but if you're intermediate, start working on your weaknesses. So in the long run, when you become advanced, you know, these weaknesses aren't such weaknesses anymore. So sometimes it's super hard to get weaknesses to a good level. But if you start implementing, like I will, you know, teach in my videos, you know, sets of 100 reps, really doing high rep stuff on these weaknesses, in the long run, that might become actually a strong part. So, you know, you might really want to like start doing just a little bit these weaknesses. So like rear delts as a natural, calves, for example, in the long run, it will pay off. So, you know, start doing them a little bit as an intermediate. And when you're advanced, you will thank yourself for doing this before. Number 21, do cardio only if you want to. So if you want to, this means if you like it, and if you know, you just think that this is good for your heart and you're just, you know, your overall well-being, you should do some cardio. But basically, if you do cardio to simply lose weight, this might not be necessary. And if you hate it as well, you don't really have to do cardio. You can actually lose weight simply by being at a deficit, calorie deficit, which you can reach through food. So, you know, cardio is always overrated. You know, you can burn 500, 400 calories with cardio. So cardio helps to be in calorie deficit, but it's not necessary because you can do it with the food. So do cardio only if you feel like it. And sometimes you might want to do cardio, you know, if you're about to compete and you're already not eating anything and you still need to burn more calories, then, you know, you might want to do cardio. But otherwise, there is no point to do cardio if you don't want to. Number 22, don't forget to do abs. So I'm pretty lucky because before I started the gym, you know, I was scared I wouldn't grow if I started doing some weights, because that's what everyone said. So I started doing abs like super intensely for like a year, like, you know, heavy abs where I was like putting some weight on myself to scale up. And so, you know, doing abs is important because the day you finally cut and you realize you don't have abs, you're like, fuck, I need to restart everything. Well, everything, I've got to start doing abs now. So you will thank yourself, even if it's a little bit of abs, you know, twice a week. In the long run, it will pay off and it'll be much better than if you don't do at all. So, you know, these little small steps in the long run really count. So if you don't like doing abs, force yourself just twice a week to do it, and you will thank yourself. Number 23, we're going a bit more in depth into your training. And so I wanted to say, visualize before you're doing your working sets or your PDs. So like I said, you know, when you warm up, you might, you know, it's kind of like visualizing where you're actually preparing yourself to do these lifts. But what can happen is sometimes you go to the gym and, well, you know, the warm-up, we already talked about this, but sometimes, you know, when you're in the gym, you're a bit in like autopilot and you just kind of like take the heavy weights and then you start doing your workout, your working set, and you're like, fuck, I just, you know, popped my neck. And if just before this working set, you weren't on autopilot and for like 15 seconds, you just, you know, focus on like, okay, I'm gonna do my set now. Then you're like so much more prepared and focused that usually you avoid getting this little pain or injuries that come up with being on autopilot. So before a set, always kind of like, you know, give yourself 5 or 10 seconds to be like, okay, I'm gonna do my set now, I'm ready. Number 24, take pictures quite regularly. Don't take, I don't know, 2,000 pictures over 2 years like I used to do. But take pictures regularly because, you know, it'll keep you motivated. You know, you see how you were before and now you see how you're now. So it'll keep you motivated for, you know, what's to come. Because sometimes, because we see ourselves every day in the mirror, it's quite hard to forget where you started from. So I think taking some pictures is quite good sometimes. And you can actually see as well where, you know, you're slacking and where you could work a bit harder, which muscles are left behind. So yeah, take pictures sometimes. Number 25, measure yourself. And so I'm saying this for people who might have, you know, some sort of body dysmorphia or bigorexia. I was like this much more before than I am now, but basically, you know, bigorexia, it's never big enough, and sometimes you can't rationalize in your brain that, you know, you're actually big or something like this. And if you start measuring yourself, this is something I used to do, and that's when I stopped, you know, taking pictures, because once you measure yourself, you're like, well, numbers don't lie. So if you've got 16 inches arms and, you know, the next day it's still 16 inches, well, you haven't lost muscle, you know. But in your brain, it's not like that. You're just like, oh yeah, I've lost, I'm smaller. So if you start measuring yourself, numbers don't lie. So that might give you a bit of relief. For 26, you can meditate. And so I don't meditate a lot, but I'm saying that meditate in terms of sometimes just after your session, going in the stretching area and just laying down here and, you know, like kind of like, I don't know, just relax. And you could do this as well before your session, just like the warm-up, kind kind of like visualizing, put yourself in this little relief, calm mode, and meditating can help you obviously going through your gym journey better, and preparing yourself for your sessions as well. So if some of you really like or thought about meditating, then you might want to get into this. Number 27. So now we're a bit out of the hardcore how do I get muscle, but it's more about I think the well-being, which will help you build muscle in the long run, and this is the environment where you're at. So if you're a student and you have the university gym next to you, I would advise you to go there. The university gym is exceptional because usually, well, it's very busy, so that's the bit of the annoying part, but there's so many people here that you meet and they become your friends for a long time. That you might want to go there. You're gonna make so many friends there, so don't be intimidated. The staff is always there to help you. Usually, the university gym is a friendly environment, so that's my advice if you're a student, and even if you're not, go to the university gym. Be a friendly environment to start with, compared to the local gym, the commercial gym, where it's not very friendly. So you might want to go to where the environment is good, like the uni gym. Tip number 28 is to gather as many good factors as possible. So for example, the list of 30 advice that I just gave you, the more you're trying to gather this good advice together, the better you're going to improve. So really try and do as much as you can in terms of positive factors, because sometimes you might get caught up in your life and it might be hard to keep going, and you might actually just focus on one or two things, but one or two things that are good are not enough. The more you add good things to them, the better it will be. So try at least to keep track of all these advice that I get, and try to really add them together, because it's gonna be very good momentum if you do this, and it's gonna skyrocket your results. Tip number 21 is just to become an absolute beast. So when you go to the gym, you always see this one or two people that look very good or like strong, and so these people, you're like, oh well, they're always the one that you ask that you see people asking advice for. And I'm just saying that this could also be you at some point, if you actually follow all the good advice, and you could become super good. So become a beast. Don't let yourself down in all this journey. So I know now the tips aren't as helpful maybe as they were at the beginning, but here is just a bit of encouragement where I'm trying to motivate you to get started if you're a beginner. And so the last tip, which is the 30th, is to stick to this channel, because I really do my best all the time to give the best tips possible. Today the tips I gave in this video are overall things that I will go much more in depth in individual videos. So this video was more of a motivational video. So I hope you really enjoyed it. My last tip is to stick to this channel. So if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe, to like, and to comment. I will personally answer your questions if you need some light, or just you don't know what to do at the moment with your program and how to improve. So that's my promise. So I will see you later. Like and subscribe. See you later.